Hello to everyone, and welcome to my first travel guide video. And here we'll be going over Lisbon, Portugal, which I went to last summer, summer of 2023, um, right before my study abroad trip in Spain. Um, I went here alone, backpacking, and stayed in a bunch of hostels. But Lisbon was my first stop, and there's so many cool things to do in Lisbon. Good food, good activities. It's a really pretty and old city. And in this video, we will go over some of the activities, some of the places you should eat, and generally how to get around Lisbon in the most efficient way. I was in Lisbon for 3 or 4 days that summer, and I really got to see like most of everything around there. Of course, I would have loved to stay longer, but I had to keep moving. So I definitely recommend staying as long as you can. First, when you get to the airport, there's the machine in the top left up here is where you get your Metro card. And this Metro card is super useful. You can use it on any form of transit in the city, really, and whether it be the ferries or the metro, um, and you just add like a certain amount of euros. I put like 20 or 25 euros for my 4 days there, and you can always recharge the card. And you just tap it when you go through the metro system, and um, it's really cheap, and it'll get you into the trains. Another thing you can use your metro card for is the trams in the city. Lisbon is a super hilly city, so if you get tired of like walking a lot, um, these trams can be super helpful in getting around, and they're really cool and great for photography, of course. Here is a metro map of the city where the underground metro is. It's a really cool metro. It is way underground in some places, like multiple escalators to get down. On the red line up here, you see the airport, and just outside the airport, you can take this metro, which will take you downtown. And all of these like metro maps connect, and so you can really get anywhere in the city from the metro. And when you're switching lines, you don't have to pay again, which is nice because you can just stay underground and switch between these different stations in the city. When you look at where to stay, I stayed in an area called Cristo Rei. It's down here at the bottom next to the water. It's a great place. It's a train station and a metro station. And I stayed kind of in the middle of this picture in a hostel. The hostel had free sangria every night at like 5 or something, which was great for social events, meeting people, and finding people to go out with and stuff like that. Along with that, there's great food, especially in this mercado right here, which I'll go over in a little bit, but I highly recommend eating here. And it was also super affordable for the trip. This area that I stayed in was called Barrio Alto. Um, and this is a really great part of town, super close to everything that you need to be. And there's lots of great hostels and hotels to stay in this area. This, again, is the map of the area. Here is the market that I was talking about. Timeout Market is down by the metro station, and also it was close to my hostel. And there's a ton of different places to eat. Each one of these little names you can see on the side are different, like restaurants with different types of food. And it's just a great place to eat. And of course, they have amazing pastel de nata, which is like the famous dessert of Portugal. It is definitely a must try. In Barrio Alto, there's also like notable landmarks, such as this street that's very colorful and pink, and of course the street with umbrellas, which I found to have a lot more people in it. It was not this easy to take a picture. Here again is the map, and there's lots of other cool things that you should definitely see, such as this plaza in downtown Lisbon is close to Barrio Alto, um, and it's really beautiful with the statue and the big open plaza. Along with that, close to Barrio Alto is the Lisbon Cathedral, which is great for pictures. It's a very old cathedral and is super pretty, which you can all reach from this metro station at Cais. Um, and they all connect, so it's really easy to get from one place to another. I personally use Google Maps a lot to get from each location because I just find it on the map and then have the metro part enabled, and it would tell me which station to get off on and stuff like that. Another cool thing, a day trip, you could say, is from Cais here. You can use your Metro card to take this ferry across the river. And once you get across to the point here, there's still more of Lisbon Metro, which you can take to Cristo Rei over here, which I will go over next. But again, you can use your Metro card to get across and to get there, and it's super efficient. And it's a great day trip. It's a really notable part of Lisbon as it like looks over the whole city. And I highly recommend taking a day trip over to visit Cristo Rei. This is a map of downtown Lisbon. Of course, here's where I was staying down here. And this is the cathedral I was talking about over here, Sé de Lisboa. But when you go uptown, there's also a lot of cool stuff to see, like this park here, super long green space in the park up top. It looks like this and is super pretty. Lots of people there in the summer, and I highly recommend that you check it out while you're there. Another day trip number one, I guess I could say, is to Cascais. It's a beautiful sea, a beautiful trip to take that's out by the sea, and has great swimming in the ocean. Although when I went in August, this water was freezing, although it's pretty, but I still highly recommend you swim there. Um, from Cais to Sodre, you can take a train that goes all the way out to Cascais. It takes about 42 minutes, and there's tons of trains. They leave super often. You just go down to the metro station there, and you can use your metro card to pay for the train that goes out. Here is a picture of the train ride. It goes along the coast, and there's super pretty views. Um, Here, there are many stops along the way. I did all the stops on the way out um, to Cascais, um, and I recommend you just hop on and off this train at all these sites to see them. You could also do it on the way back. I mean, like go to Cascais and make the stops on the way back. But I did it on the way there. And mind you, this was like an all-day trip that I took. Um, these little stops kind of look like this, and people get on and off the train at these stops. Um, the first stop I recommend getting off at is this beautiful landmark that they have. Is super famous there in Lisbon, and from there you can walk to the Belém Tower, which is also super pretty. Both of these places are great for pictures to take. I have many pictures next to these things. Um, and the stop, like, it doesn't take that long. You can go and you can take pictures, and that's really easy to swipe your card again and hop back on the train for a couple euros. Again, the train going out to the ocean. Once you get to Cascais, there's a super pretty sea town to walk around. It's very small, with lots of restaurants and cool stuff to do. Um, I personally ate lunch out here and had a seafood like soup that was super good. And I highly recommend trying the seafood when you're out there. But there's many options, and there's beaches to swim at, and it's a really cute town along the ocean there. Again, you can take the same train back that you took. Of course, look at the hours to see when it's open, but it took about 40 minutes to get back to Barrio Alto. Once you get back to Barrio Alto, there's another day trip that I highly recommend, and it's to a location called Sintra. It's this super colorful castle that's kind of on top of a mountain, and you get lots of cool views. You can take the metro to the train station that goes to Sintra. You go to the Rocio station, and from there, just like Cais do Sodre has both metro and the train, you can also go to this metro station and then get on the train that goes to Sintra. The train station kind of looks like this. Um, where you would purchase your ticket or use your Metro card to get on to a train, um, one of the CP trains in Portugal. Here's the train ride. It's about an hour, 50, something like that. Depends on the stops and everything like that. But the train goes both out and back, and it's a great day trip. I personally did not stop along the way and went all the way to Sintra. And once you get to the town, you can take this tram or a taxi, of course. But I mean, like, look at the tram; like, it's so pretty, all the way up to the castle. And this is the castle, which you can explore all over the place. Here's a picture of the tourists, of course, walking around the castle and looking inside. Now, when we go to the food in Portugal, there is a lot of notable cuisine. I would say lots of food that like you must try, especially here in Lisbon. The seafood is outstanding, like the clams, the oysters, the mussels, and of course the fish. They have amazing seafood dishes, and I recommend you try all of them. One of the most famous ones are these like cooked sardines, which of course have the bones in, but you just eat around them, and they have so much flavor. Another super popular food is the bifanas. It's like basically like a barbecue sandwich with like a shredded meat inside. Would be like a really poor a really poor connection to American food, but it is definitely a different flavor and it is so good. Honestly, you should definitely try both of these food, both the sardines and these sandwiches. And of course, Portugal is famous for their wine, port wine, which is grown all over Portugal. It is a must try for sure. And the desserts, I mean, pastel de nata, as I mentioned before, you can get it in the Timeout Market. You can get it anywhere, really. All the bakeries have it. It's really creamy. It's made with like a custard on the inside, like a sweet custard. And the outside is like puff pastry. And oh, I could eat so many of these. Another cool liquor that I tried in Lisbon was called ginginha. Um, it's like this like cherry flavored liquor, and you lots of places you can get it in like a little like chocolate shot glass, and the cherry and the chocolate goes really good together. But I highly recommend you try ginginha, of course, if you're of age and able to drink. Now, this concludes my full overview of Lisbon with a couple day trips I highly recommend to Cristo Rei and Cascais and Sintra. They're all beautiful trips, along with exploring all over downtown. Hopping on and off the metro is the best way, 100%, to get from place to place really quickly, and it's relatively cheap. I mean, you can get all over the city. I did all of these things in 4 days. But of course, if you don't want to be so rushed, I mean, 5 or 6 days in Lisbon would have been amazing. Um, I highly recommend you try all these food and everything else. And I really hope when you get to Lisbon, you have as much fun and experience all the cool things that I got to experience. Thank you for watching.